Pope Francis celebrated the last Mass broadcast live from Casa Santa Marta Chapel last Sunday, as here in the Vatican, as you mentioned, the Basilica is fully reopened at 7 a.m. this morning. He held a Mass inside a chapel where Pope John Paul II is buried to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the late Pope's birth. That was attended just by a small group of members of the church. Now, we understand that only the Basilica has fully reopened, not the square. The Basilica was fully sanitized last Friday. There are signs both in English and in Italian telling those who are entering to keep the 1.5 meters apart, to sanitize their hands and wear face masks. As we know, Catholic churches have been preparing for the resumption of masses under very strict social distancing measures. Worshippers are required to wear face masks at all times. Priests have to wear masks and gloves whenever they distribute the communion, and the communion is to be given in the hands rather than in the mouth. Other faiths also have been allowed to hold religious services.
Yeah, Georgia, as we see there, a new face of worship. Shops and cafes, we're also saying, are reopening, but it's not quite business as usual, is it?
It is not, Isabel. Well, figures are encouraging enough, though, to convince the government to allow businesses and shops to reopen. The main news is that Italians from today onwards will be allowed to move freely. They won't be required to carry that self-declaration form with them at all times. But as you mentioned, business is not business as usual, judging at least from the way the city appears today. A few stores have decided not to reopen at all. They have shown signs outside their premises claiming that the government has not done enough to allow them to reopen. I had the chance to speak to a few business owners, at least those who have managed to reopen, and they've told me how difficult it has been for them so far. Take a listen.
I'm scared that nobody will come to shop and we'll have to fight to keep our businesses open. Having to deal with all these new measures, I'm scared of police checks. We have to work with this sense of anxiety. It's all really difficult.
I think it will be a flop. After all this, people are scared by what they have heard in the media. They don't want to go shopping. There are so many issues. Even trying clothes on is a problem. Even the idea of buying a dress. Where would someone wear the dress? They can't go anywhere.